Celebrating entrepreneurs and creativity. Talking business, pleasure, real life get together. Join us here.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Creative Entrepreneurs Podcast. Guys, you know how we do it. This is the podcast where we turn creativity into careers and passion into profit. And we're really all about empowering you to monetize your talent. And that could be giving you hints and tips and value that you can implement today to start making some money out of your talent. But I am super gassed to have and to be joined by this next guest. Mobile winner, singer, songwriter, TV presenter, mum, wife, queen, and so much more. Jamelia, oh my goodness, welcome to this podcast.
What an introduction, Drew.
I rehearsed it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm honoured to be here, honestly.
You don't understand how gassed I am that you've joined us. Even when I sent the message, I was like, I wonder if she's going to do it. And
please.
You know, I think I sent 3 voice notes. You listened to the first voice note and you was like, why are you sending me voice? I was like, it's done. Like, it's done. And I'm like, what?
I'll see you there.
Because
send me the dates.
I was pleading my case. I was like, this is why you should join it. Yeah.
Pitch. I'm just like, yes, Drew, I'll be there.
Oh, bless you. Honestly, I appreciate that so much. And
no problem.
I actually remember the first time that we kind of met, but we didn't meet.
Okay.
You probably won't remember this because this was in like 2000, maybe 2001.
Oh,
it was at the Grand Hotel in Birmingham.
Oh my gosh.
You was doing some kind of event. I think you were singing or something. And I was with Tara actually.
Yeah.
I think it was like our first year of dating. Aww. Yeah, I've been with Tara for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And we was going to meet you and Tara was like not having none of it. She's like, I can't. It's Jamelia. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, and I was like, come on, Tara, stop being silly. She's like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. So we kind of didn't connect there. And I was like, oh,
that's
Tara.
so funny.
And then she saw you again in the ballroom. Yeah. Because she used to work in the ballroom.
Yeah.
And I think you was with maybe a child. I think it might have been.
One of the children. Yeah.
And she said everyone was surrounding you. She phoned me saying, Drew. I was like, what's up? She's like, Jamelia's in the ballroom. I want to go and say hello.
Aww.
So I was like, we'll go and say hello then.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I can't. Everyone's surrounding her. Everyone's surrounding her. So yeah, that was a kind of like our unofficial meetings.
Yeah.
But our official meeting actually was when you was awarded the Stars of Birmingham at Broad Street.
Yes.
And amazing event.
Oh, yeah.
Really amazing and well deserved.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
And then we had a conversation and you was like, oh yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, you're here. I'm not even going to lie. I was a bit like, oh, okay. This must be special. Like, he's Drew's come to my thing. Okay.
Wow.
Hi.
But when you said that to me, I was like, no way. Jamelia knows who I am.
Oh, gosh.
But no, that was a really humbling moment. But honestly, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jamelia, I kind of, for everybody who doesn't know who you are and that...
Yes, there are people who don't know who I am. It's more than possible.
Then, if you're one of them, then give yourself a slap.
Stop it.
But just tell the listeners kind of who you are and kind of what you do in the creative sector.
So I started my career as a singer-songwriter at 15 years old. I was in the music industry, I'd say, for about 10 years or more. It's really weird talking about my music career as if it's in hindsight, because I'm always writing, I'm always singing. I just haven't put any more music out since 2009, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I think it's 2009. I'm not sure. But since then, I've been doing TV. I've been doing. I've been acting. I've been modeling, presenting, and just enjoying life. And I've also got 3 children. I've got 4 children. 3 who I've given birth to, and 1 is my bonus son. So I've got 3 girls and a boy, and Yeah, I've been living life. I really feel as if I don't feel like I've retired, but I feel like I've changed, and I feel like I've allowed myself to change and to explore different aspects of my creativity, and trying to kind of make money from them, because that means that I can do it for longer.
Well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, but your start in life was through music.
Yes.
So, kind of rewind. I think you started in 1999, was it?
Yeah. Well, that was the release of my first single.
Right, okay.
I actually signed my record deal in 1996.
Wow.
When I was 15. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was still at school. I was offered my record deal in the summer holidays. I went to Notting Hill Carnival. I sang on the stage, and in the crowd was a man from the record label, Lloyd Brown, and he invited me over to EMI and offered me a record deal there and then. Me, my mum, and about 3 of my aunties, and my mum was like, "No, Sash, you're not signing nothing." And oh, it was so embarrassing. And she was just like, my mum made like a rule that I couldn't sign the contract until I'd passed my GCSEs. Best believe I passed every single GCSE with flying colours. And on my careers day, actually, I told my teachers, I'm gonna be a singer. I'm gonna be a famous singer, and they laughed.
Wow.
Which for me as well, I didn't take any offence from that moment, because I felt like, well, with hindsight, is that really going to happen? I can understand their thoughts as teachers from Birmingham, this little skinny black girl saying to you, I'm going to be a famous singer. But yeah, obviously 2 years later, my picture's up on the wall, and they invited me back. I did a performance for the school, and they were like, yeah, she used to go to our school with Midlands Today.
Wow. Was it Saturn around? Was it then the arts consultants or somebody else?
Do you know what?
Can't remember.
I recognise the name, so it may have been, but I'm not sure. But it was that was definitely like one of my first moments that I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on the news.
Yeah. Wow.
Central News, I think it was at the time. But I started very, very young. But at 15, I signed something called a development deal, which they don't really do now. But it was, so between the ages of 15 and 18, I was being developed as an artist. So I was doing things like media training, performance training, dance classes. They were basically grooming me to be an artist.
Wow.
And it was fantastic. It was really, I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Wow.
It was great.
And just kind of touching on that, because I was having this conversation actually with my brother. So I'm sure we run Aston Performing Arts Academy together, and our mission is to empower young people through arts, but also to give them arts and training so they can be singers or musicians.
Of course.
But I was saying we really need to diversify our offering in terms of media training and kind of all of that, kind of getting them ready for the world of the music industry.
Yeah, I think preparation for the media is probably what's most important, particularly when you're coming from the inner city, which I was. And even though I had media training, I would still say I was still a bit rough around the edges. I definitely got caught out in a lot of interviews and stuff like that. And as we know, the media, they're very hell bent on getting certain agendas and narratives from inner city people, and so I fell into that trap many, many times. And I would honestly say I've only kind of perfected that art now at my big age.
And even still, they're trying to push their narrative
but only now, I think part of it also is confidence, because even though you've had the media training, you do feel a bit like, oh my gosh, like, I'm on MTV, it all goes out the window, because you're just like, this is so exciting. I can't believe I'm here, and my first interview, my first like TV interview was with Richard Blackwood.
Oh,
he had a
good
TV
man,
show.
really.
Yeah.
We love you, Abby. Check it every day. Yeah.
Yeah. And I spent the whole time giggling. My mom was so embarrassed. She was like, just stop laughing all the time. And, but
you're a laugher.
Yeah.
Like
I'm such a giggler.
laugh.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I really, it's one of my traits. Yeah.
Oh, wicked. So you mentioned that you were from Birmingham. Like,
Yes.
Shout out Birmingham.
Yes.
And from the inner city.
Yes.
I think Hockley.
Hockley, yeah. I
so
grew up in
that
Hockley.
actually isn't too far from me. So
Okay.
I grew up in Newtown.
Newtown. Okay,
So,
my cousin lives in
We
Newtown.
just used to walk like 10 minutes to Hockley.
Yes.
So what was growing up in Hockley like, and knowing that you had a talent, and because like we're not far off in age, and we grew up in Newtown and we had a talent. We was like, meaning me and my brother, we were singing and dancing literally everywhere. Everybody used to call us like the dancing and singing twins, like, because that's just what we did.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that it would have been quite similar for you growing up, or not, or
Do you know what? First of all, I would say that I grew up in a very kind of performing family, not in the traditional sense of the word. So it wasn't like we didn't do like shows and stuff. I'm just talking about just in our house. Me and my brothers would always put on shows for my mum. It was usually something like Buju Banton or something like that, or Beanie Man. But these were the things that we used to love to do. I didn't really watch TV until I was about 14ish, when we got cable and we could watch like the American shows like Moesha and Sister and
Trouble.
Trouble TV. Yeah, exactly. But before that stage, I wouldn't say that my talent was kind of. I felt like everyone was talented. My mum worked at she managed the local play centre, Hockley Port. Shout out anyone who went to Hockley Port. And so that we were always like, everyone was always making up dances, putting on shows. It was a very kind of free space where you felt able to kind of express yourself. So I think that in terms of the talent, it was definitely honed, but not in a, let's get you on the stage kind of thing. It was just, this is just what we do. This is, I think I'd say it was more cultural. Like it was just a culture of showing each other what you were good at, and so I never felt like me singing was anything extraordinary. I just thought it was my talent. I'll never forget, there was this girl called Kimberly Maynard. I'll always remember her because she could do like backflips, and it was like, oh, she was wicked. Like, do you know what I mean? So everyone seemed to have their talent. You had the footballer, you had the the boys who could lift heavy things. Like, I don't know, it just. Thinking back, I didn't feel as if my talent was, stood out more than anybody else's. And looking at that from the perspective that I have now, I think what was presented to me was the opportunity to do something with my talent on a huge scale. And I do believe that. I think we've got, especially in the inner city, there are so many talented individuals, but it's like, have they been given the opportunity? Do you know what I mean? And for me, I feel I was very lucky to not only be presented with the opportunity, but be in a position and have the support to take the opportunity as well. My mum is a creative, but she was a creative that wasn't allowed to enjoy her creativity. My mum, she's so talented at so many things, but she came from a family who only respected academic prowess, and so she was like the bottom of the pile in her house, and I think that she definitely internalized that. And so when she gave birth to creative children, it was encouraged to the highest heights. Love and obviously everything to my mother.
I absolutely love that. So at what point, and I don't know if this was when you got your record deal, but at what point did you think, right, I need to get serious about this, I can make some serious money from this? Because like, if you got a record deal at 15, I don't think that would be going through. I mean, if I was 15, I would just be thinking of the fame and not really the...
I literally just thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like Mary J. Blige. That was it.
Mary J. Blige was doing bits back then.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, she was my idol at the time.
Depressed
so,
Mary J. Blige was everything. Like.
She was hitting me at 50, like, I'm not going to cry. Like, oh, really? What have you got to cry about? But anyway, I have never, ever, still to this day, been motivated by money. And I know that, that's probably not on brand with what we're talking about, but I believe in following a passion and really tapping into your purpose above all else. And I have a strong belief that will always bring you the riches that you need, whether that's knowledge, whether that's financial, whether that's, your environment. I strongly believe in, making sure that whatever it is you're pursuing is purposeful and something that you're genuinely passionate about. So for me, obviously, at 15, I wasn't thinking like that. But I just thought, at 15, coming from Birmingham, going to London and staying in hotels and going on planes, it was like another world. But because I always kept my base in Birmingham, it's like I would go to London to be Jamelia the singer, and then I'd come home to be normal. And I always felt like I needed both. Like both were a break from each other. And I kind of felt like when I went to London, I felt like I was playing. I felt like I was pretending. I felt like I was playing a role and being, it really felt like play. It really did. It didn't feel real. And when I came home, I needed my mum to tell me to wash up and, I really needed that as much as anything else. And so when it comes to money, it was just always wild to me, like money in the music industry as well. You just realize how much in abundance it is. Like, they'd like come up with budgets for videos, and it was like, 200,000, like money that I can't even fathom. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't even. My record deal, I signed it for, I got paid £15,000. Now, if my daughter was offered a record deal, best believe they're not offering her £15,000.
Yes,
but
Mama J, yes, I love it. Yes.
But, no, and what I say, the reason why I say that is because, like, I think to a degree, the record industry can exploit individuals from inner city backgrounds, because £15,000. So to me, that was more than my mum's annual wage at the time. Yeah. And I'm getting offered that, and that was what's called an advance. So you get paid that before you record anything, and then you get an allowance. I was getting an allowance of £600 a month. As I said, this was more than my mum was getting paid. My mum was a manager at the local play centre, and my idol. Do you know what I mean? But now, my mum and her 15-year-old child are on a par, and I'm like, I'll get that for you, mommy. You know what I mean?
I'm flossing.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, when I first started getting paid, the first thing I did was bought that, like some of the kids in my class, I bought them all to town, and I bought everyone trainers, and then my mum took my card off me. She was like, okay.
Because I was going to say, like, did you see any of the money when you was getting paid, or was it like put in an account, or just like...
No, we were living life. My mum was going to New York every 2 weeks. Like, no. And again, there's the idea of financial literacy and money management. And these are things that I've only learned in the last 10 years. So, without those things, I was frivolous. I didn't have a respect for money. I think the only thing that I invested in was buying houses. And even when I say buying houses, I wasn't like buying properties all over the place, which I should have done. I was just buying a house to live in. So, I would, my first house I bought when I was 21, and I was 20, sorry. I just had my eldest daughter at the time, but I always bought a house big enough for my whole family to live in. I didn't want to. I have lived alone actually, but yeah, I always want my family close, and I want, and to be able to provide a home as well is really important to me anyway. And so, I lived with my mom until I bought her a house in Jamaica, and then she moved to Jamaica, and then that's when I started living on my own, which was, another story. But, so I would say that, honestly, I would say that I was hemorrhaging money at the time, especially when like Superstar came out.
We need to speak about Superstar. We need to speak about Superstar.
Because at that time, so I'd be doing shows. So just think about this, and so just remember, I'm not putting this money down, and I'd be doing probably a show a week, and in all over the world, different places all over the world, and the minimum I would get paid is 50 grand for a show. So imagine you're doing one show. I'm getting paid at the time. I was on par with the footballers. Do you know what I mean?
Because he was big.
Superstar. And I'd do mad shows, and I'd do shows for like Russians in Moscow. You never heard of them, but
but they know every word.
And it was it was a really crazy time, and it's looking back now, I'm just like, what I could have done with that money, like what I've, with the head that I have now, the things that I would have done had I had financial literacy, had I had any business acumen, or, even just my entrepreneurial streak. I feel like I didn't have that when I was younger. I have that now, but I definitely didn't have it. And I would say when it comes to financial literacy, I learned most of that from my husband, who I've been with for coming up to 5 years.
Wow.
So, so before that stage, as I said, the only way I can describe it is I was hemorrhaging money. I would, take... And the thing is as well, coming from the inner city, it's like I can have whatever I want and do whatever I want, and my children I can get them whatever they want. I can take them. Traveling was a big deal for me. My children, I don't know, by the time Tasia was like 5, she'd been to every continent, and it was so in that way, to be able to afford experiences, I still think that, it was great. I don't think I wasted my money. I was never like a designer person. I never wore, I've never been someone who's into like designer clothes and stuff like that. But I would definitely say I was stupid with my money. And the things that I would have done had I, been still commanding that level of money today, I'd be like... I would, probably like something like this building that we're in today. I'd definitely invest in something like that.
But I think that that's extremely powerful, particularly for the next generation of creatives.
Yes,
it's so important that you have a business mind and that you think about your financial literacy, and that you think about where you're investing your money, and you secure your money. And
100%.
I applaud you for kind of taking your children to experience the world and different things, because to me that is sometimes the biggest investment is through experiences and knowledge, and that's kind of a reward for what you do. So but thank you for that piece of knowledge, because honestly I think it's so important. A lot of people see the fame, they see the fortune, they see the cars, they see the houses, and they think that this is indicative of what the industry is.
So another thing I have to say, I am what you'd call an anomaly in the music industry. So one of the things that somebody, I can't even remember who told me, but from early doors, someone told me to make sure that I write my own songs, and make sure that I fought for my royalties. And that is that keeps me paid. I've been in the same house for 15 years. I've got a swimming pool in my back garden, and I'm not saying that to show off. I'm saying that to let people know that I've been able to maintain, a lifestyle or a level of living for myself and my children. It's not about the things that I have, but it's about not having to, sell up and move to, and be down in the dumps. And I'm not saying that, sorry, that sounds really bad, but I think it would have been really sad if I had to go from where my children started growing up to back to where I came from. And so I kind of feel like because of that advice that I was given about writing my own songs and making sure I got my royalties, because of that, I'm able to maintain life now. Like I still get my... They're called residuals, so it's like, and every time my song gets played, I get paid. And that's what I would advise. If you are a songwriter, fight for your right to write your songs. I don't know.
And it's true. And even if you're not a songwriter, learn how to write songs.
Yeah.
Particularly if you want to go in the music industry,
Definitely.
because that's where the longevity is.
And the thing is as well, when you write a song, you don't get your royalties. You don't start getting your royalties until 2 years after the song is being released. So I would highly recommend it. And as I said, I haven't released a song since 2009, and I still get my royalties. I get royalties every month, but I also get quarterly royalties as well, which are my lump sums. And
how does royalties work? Is it like a set amount, or is it how? Because call me thick, but how do like when songs are just being played? Like, how do you know?
So you sign up with what's called a collection company, and they basically, if a song is played in like a shop, on the radio, on the television, they have to log it. Every time it's played on the radio, they have to write down exactly what song they played, because they need to distribute the royalties to each person. So obviously you don't have to sit down and they're playing my song, like
Because if I'm Jamelia and I'm walking into a shop, let's say I'm walking into Zara and I hear Superstar, I'm like, cha-ching.
25p. You get different amounts for different things as well. So if it's on like EastEnders, 3 years in a row, the Christmas special on EastEnders, my song was played as like just before the dum dum dum, and I was like, just because
did they tell you in advance, or do you just?
No.
Wow.
You just. So if I hear I recently heard my song in a Netflix series, and I was just like,
I heard it.
So because it's been streamed as well, so every time someone watches that and that song plays, I'll get paid. But again, I'm not going to get paid for now. I'll get paid maybe in a year or two. But
that's amazing. So was it Superstar then, the song, or what song was it?
Superstar isn't the song that makes me my most money. No, because I only wrote 5% of that song.
Oh, okay.
So they're making con.
Yes.
Because that song gets played. But I'm not gonna lie, it's my second song that I get the most royalties for. But the song that I get the most royalties for is Thank You. Yeah. And for me,
I was playing that in the car before.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Thank you. See, I don't get paid for that though. So
I was gonna say, oh my God, they're gonna come for their money.
Unless you stream it, actually.
Okay.
So artists only recently started getting paid for streaming. Big up Taylor Swift, because she fought for it.
Oh, of course.
I wasn't part of the fight, but thanks Taylor. So artists, I'd say in the last couple of years, they've started getting paid for streaming, and you get paid. Streaming is like, at first it was just like, this is terrible, because you weren't getting paid every time people were playing it in their house. But now, if someone was to play my song on Spotify and stuff like that, I'll get paid. That's why sometimes you'll see me put up my song on my Instagram story, because it's like, just remind you to play it if you want to stream it.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay, so I want to touch a little bit on the music itself. So, and I just want to quickly touch on Superstar, because I know that for me, even though like Money was just a big tune, because I was just thinking, wow, like the whole with Money, like everything just looked like Money. Like the video looked like Money. The fact that Beanie Man was on the track, it just looked like, and I couldn't understand at the point, like, this girl is from Birmingham. Like, this girl is from Birmingham. And then everywhere I turned, like, people said, oh yeah, I know Jamelia. I'm like, how comes everyone in Birmingham knows Jamelia but me? But
Jamelia knew you.
But speak to me about Money. How did that happen with Beanie Man? How did that collaboration happen?
So, well, I wrote the song in the back of a taxi.
So you wrote it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cha-ching.
All right. Let me just start adding.
Yeah. So I loved the backing track. Like for me, I love the mixing of genres. So we had that kind of operatic orchestra, and then obviously with the the I don't know, R&B beat or whatever. And I love doing that with their music.
Good.
So I was inspired. So on my way, I was in London and I was on my way to the studio, and I just wrote the song in the back of the taxi. And then by the time I got out, I was just like, although my first line was, "My name ain't Madonna," but we had to change it because we're like, no, we don't want to offend Madonna. So it was, I think it's "Ain't a Pre-Madonna" or something like that. But anyway, so I wrote it, and then we recorded it, and it was a finished song. And then a couple of weeks later, so the producer went to Jamaica, and then a couple of weeks later, he invited me to the studio. I came over, and he was like, "I've got a surprise for you." And he played it to me, and it was Beanie Man. And I honestly, I was crying. Like, Beanie Man was on my wall at home. Like, he was someone that, I knew every single one of his songs. Like, I was, his biggest fan. And then he was on my song. Like, it was, I can't explain the feeling. And then obviously when we got to perform it, we performed it at the Mobiles, and we performed on the Ear Right show, and I did a few shows with him, and it just felt incredibly surreal. Even now, like my daughters, they find my Mobile performance hilarious, just because they say that I just look so excited, and I'm like, I can't need it, like I just go just mad. And but even looking back at the video and at the performance, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's me and Beanie Man, like. That will forever be like one of my, ultimate highlights to perform with someone that I'm such a huge fan of, and still to this day I'm a massive Beanie Man fan.
Because Beanie Man was big.
Like, he was
the verses.
Huge then.
Did you watch the verses?
Yes,
oh my god!
Particular.
Oh god! Wow.
Yeah.
But I think that's when I think the world seen Jamelia. They were like, oh wow, like because you had singles before Money.
I had so they were what they called warm-up singles. So I did so before that you did like a tour of all the pirate stations, and then I did things. So this is the thing, a lot of people feel like, you just put a song out, but you have to be introduced to the industry. When I performed Money to the industry, someone said to me, "Oh, she's really great, but she's too dark. She'll never make it." And I remember thinking, "Oh yeah, all right, I'll see you again soon." I like guaranteed, because for me, I kind of feel like I was completely unafraid. I was completely unafraid. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, you can't be scared of something when it's so huge. It's like, it was too huge for me to even fathom. Every single thing that I did as an artist was wild. If I was on a private jet, if I was doing a show to 100,000 people, it was just like, it's just me. Like, I'm just Jamelia from Birmingham. Like, that's literally, and that's who I am always, and that's how I feel always. So, and I don't feel like an imposter. I don't feel like I'm not supposed to be here. I just feel like, oh, this is just a little thing that I do, but it's not really my life, which I know sounds a bit weird. But yes, singing and being an artist was never my life. It was just something that I did, that I enjoyed. It was a passion, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it until I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we will go on to that shortly.
Yeah.
But I think just kind of reverting back to Money and the fan. Like, I love that video.
Thank you.
But I think it just goes to show how important collaboration is. Because do you think the song would have been as big as it was without Beanie?
No way. No way. Beanie Man made the song. He was like I don't even know if I can say he was the cherry on the cake. I think I was the cherry and he was the cake, because it was just like Beanie Man. And the thing is as well, at the time he was number 5 in the charts in the UK. So for him to be, so he was big in the UK at the time. So it was, remember when I mentioned earlier
what
about
song was it?
opportunity?
What song was
And so we released it a little bit after he released that, and he'd been number 5 for weeks as well. He was on the chart, and this is what I talk about when I mention being, you know, in the right place at the right time and being prepared for an opportunity. So because we'd had that song, you know, the opportunities, like the conditions were perfect for me to release that song. So it's not just a case of I did a song with Beanie Man. I did a song with Beanie Man at the time that Beanie Man was number 5 in the charts, that the song was recorded, the video was done, and we were ready to release at the perfect time. So, you know, and so all of those things work in motion. It's never just me. It's never down to one person. It's a collaboration. You know, you collaborate, and it's something that these record labels think about, that you know, of course I wouldn't be thinking about that, you know, whether it's marketable and stuff like that. And but I just remained myself throughout the process, in terms of, you know, oh, I want to do a video, I want to dress up in those dresses. Like, I was just a typical teenager.
Yeah. So you know, money was big.
Yeah.
Like, money was just huge.
Yeah.
But I think the body of work that really kind of made Jamelia was the album. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's when we got to see Jamelia.
Yeah.
And just reflecting on that process, because you made Thank You after you had a baby. So even when, and like back then, and I remember like back then everyone was saying, oh, Jamelia's pregnant, it's a done deal.
Forget it.
Like, forget it. It's a done deal. Like, don't even. And I actually remember speaking to my mum about it, and my mum was of the same view. Like, you can't get pregnant when you're on the verge of making it. Like, it's just it's career suicide.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So how did you come back fighting with this body of work, which is amazing, by the way? I love that album.
Thank you. Honestly, I heard what people were saying, but I just thought, it's just a baby. Like, why can't I can still sing, I can still do everything, like I can still perform. And thankfully, again, the opportunity that I had at that time was that my record label agreed with me. They were like, why can't you do another album? You know, my first session, I went back with my baby on my shoulder. Didn't work out very well, but you know, but you know, it was just kind of like, of course I'm gonna go back, and like, why can't I?
So practically, like, how did it work? Did you kind of call the record label, or did the record label say, right, we've got a project to do, you're signed to this contract? Like,
so honestly, they sent me a bunch of flowers when I had Tasia, and they said, you know, take however long you need, but we can't wait to have you back. And I remember thinking that was strange at the time, like, oh, they want me back. And I was like, okay. And then I think after about a year, I told them I was ready, and they were like, okay, we'll set up we'll set up the sessions. And I was like, okay. And it all felt a little bit too easy. Funnily enough, my first day back in the studio was September 11th. So actually, it wasn't even a year. My first day in the studio was September 11th, and I'm Jamaican, and I remember that happened. It was the day that the Twin Towers fell, and I was like, some of it's wrong. So I went back home, and I took another, I'd say, 6 months to a year, and then I started to record then. So I think they were just open to it. I remember having a conversation. I was out around the time. Sorry, I got pregnant a little bit after. I don't know what her name is, but she was from All Saints, and she was doing loads of performances with her big belly and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, oh, this is so empowering. Then I went on tour with Destiny's Child while I was pregnant. I was 6 months pregnant at the time, and I remember during that I was like, why?
Sorry, I just need to just pause. We just throw in this. I went on tour with Destiny's Child. Like it's just.
I went on tour with them 5 times, 5 different times. Every time they came over, I would go on tour with them.
That's mad.
And that was before, during, and after my pregnancy with Tasia. So they were really lovely. They're really lovely girls. Yeah, Beyonce's my big brethren. No, she's not. She's not.
Get her on. You know, I DM that. Get her on.
But I mean. For me, and I always say this, I did the most incredible things after becoming a mother. Before I was a mother, so after becoming a mother, I went on tour. I went on tour with Usher, Justin Timberlake, Destiny's Child. I sang for Nelson Mandela. I went to dinner with Nelson Mandela. I did shows with Naomi Campbell. These are all with my children, with, you know, either just Tasia or Tasia and Tiani. I went around the world. We went to Australia. We went to Thailand. I did the Thai version of the MTV Music Awards, and I won their Artist of the Year. Tasia was there rehearsing with me for my performance on the stage. Like, wow. I just, my child was never going to be a reason not to. And what greater motivation for me than to have this little girl watching my every move. Like, of course I've got to smash it. Of course this is direct inspiration, and not only for her, for other little girls. There's other people's little girls watching me as well. And I became very conscious of that, actually. The older that Tasia got, I became more and more conscious of what I was putting out there as an artist and who I was becoming, and the reason that my record deal came to an end was because of that conflict, because they wanted to push me into a more kind of sexualized arena that I wasn't comfortable with. I had 2 little girls by that stage, and I was just like, you know what, it's better I just walk away. And they agreed. They were like, okay, cool, bye.
But yeah, so that's so empowering.
Sorry, I keep rambling on. I'm like going all the way.
I love it.
You're asking one question and I'm like going clear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. So just going back to kind of like the music writing. And, Thank You.
Yes.
Like was a big tune.
Yes. Thank you.
I just think for me, like it was that tune that I was like, oh, like Jamelia's got depth.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, bless you. Thank you.
Because some of the other stuff that was coming out, like it was very pop and it was great and you could sing along to it. But
I hated Superstar.
Did you?
Yeah, I hated it. I was in the recording booth crying my eyes out. That's how much I hated it. I was
Did you think it was going to be as big as it was?
No,
really?
I didn't. Not at all. And obviously, I eat my words. I was just like, this song is rubbish, and this is not going to be. And it was, it was my biggest hit. I think it was my biggest hit. Yeah. I don't think it was my highest charting song, but it was. It's definitely the song that I'm known for. It's the song that took me all over the world. It was number 1 in Australia, Spain, Italy, not England, because. No. That was Thank You. Thank You was on course to be number 1, and then Peter Andre re-released Mysterious Girl. Fuming. When he came out the jungle and he had his thing with Jordan. Anyway, so Thank You. But Thank You was my opportunity to kind of showcase myself as a songwriter, because I felt the need to kind of bring it back after Superstar, because I didn't feel like Superstar represented me. And then obviously, as luck would have it, Superstar absolutely blows. Like, even though it wasn't number 1, it was like on the charts for like just a stupid amount of weeks. It was the most played song on the radio in 2005. And so, it was kind of like I felt like I had to kind of combat being known for such a poppy song. I don't regret it. I feel like I feel like with everything there's something to learn. Do you know what I mean? And I definitely learned a lot about the business as well when it comes to Superstar. But with Thank You, it was like I want people to know I can write. I want people to know that I've got substance and I wanted people to know that it's not all roses and and also I wanted to write a song that was inspiring and empowering. I was really determined to do that, and I got the inspiration after having a phone call and having a little cussing match, and I put the phone down and I was like, you know what, thank you, and I wrote it down. Literally, and I wrote it down.
And you did all that and more, like with that song. Seriously, you did, and I would imagine it would have been very empowering to many women who were in a similar situation. And I just think amazing.
Thank
Hats
you.
off.
Thank you.
So, music industry comes to, I say comes to an end, but not really. But your record label,
my deal
comes to an end, and you decide to pursue TV, and you have an amazing career in TV.
Yes.
What was that transition like?
So it was incredibly intentional. I felt when I was coming towards the end of my music career, I felt as if I was being used, and I was just like, no, I want people to know who I am and what I'm about, because when you at that time as a music artist, it wasn't lucrative for you to show your personality. So you only spoke through music and you only spoke about music. And for me, it was like, but there's so much more. There's so much more going on, and there's so much more to me as well. And obviously this was before like social media and stuff, and it was like I wanted to use my influence. I was never somebody who wanted to be famous, but I wanted to use the fame that I had to do some good and to shine a light on just issues that I was passionate about. And so then that's when I went to my management and I was just like, look, I really want to do TV presenting. I want to go into that, and I want to do documentaries. And because of my musical fame, it was kind of like I got let in the door quite easily. I got meetings with different production companies and obviously stations and stuff like that, and whatever I wanted to make, I could make. So I made a documentary about single parenthood. I made a documentary about hair. I made a documentary about where I grew up. And then I had some other opportunities to do live television. And for me, again, I felt like I was playing, and I felt it was I just loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I still to this day love that. I don't even know what it is about presenting and stuff, but I really enjoy doing it, and I think it's because I get to showcase an element of my personality whilst talking about things that I'm passionate about. And as I said, I always want to use my influence to do something, of substance. So the transition, again, I was in a position to take an opportunity, and at that time, my opportunity was the fact that I was, quote unquote famous. Being able to take that opportunity and to take advantage of that fact and use that to go into television. And again, it's kind of the more TV that I did, the more I kind of built up like a show reel. And again, that was great until it wasn't. But
no, and speaking of your influence and speaking on things that matter, the reason why I absolutely 100% rate you, and the reason why actually in 2019 I was like, Jamelia has to have the MBCC award, like has to, is because you put your career, you put your bag on the line, to speak on things that matter. Before it was before it was famous, before it was safe to speak about race, post George Floyd, like way before that, you were speaking on issues that 100% mattered, and you was using your platform for the greater good, irrespective of what the outcome for you was going to be. And some people, rightly or wrongly, just wouldn't. They play the role.
And, of course.
And they'd be like, well, it's not affecting me personally or my bag, so I'm just gonna hush and play the role. But what made you be like, was it the fact that you had kids, or was it the fact, like, what made you be like, nah, like, I need to speak on some of these issues that's happening in the industry?
Do you know, so for me, it was obviously, so by this point, 10 years in the music industry. At that point, it was probably about 5 years in television. And I realized that particularly my white counterparts were were doing things. And I was just like, why? What is stopping me from getting those opportunities? Because I'm good, and sometimes I would be like, I'm better than her. Like,
you know
what I mean? But and it was just kind of like, what is stopping me? And then it's a really unfortunate light switch moment where you realize, and I think it was honestly, I think it was the they call it the plus size row. So let me just quickly explain what happened there. We were talking about clothing in stores that were of like for obese people. And I said I didn't think that we should be providing. I'm not even going to go back into what I said. Yeah. But then it was put in all the papers that I said that plus size shouldn't be. Now, plus size and clothing for obese people are two totally different things. By the way, my whole mindset has changed now. But at the time, I remember just being completely vilified for something I didn't say. And not only that, the other women on the show who were all white said exactly the same thing that I said, and I noticed that I was the only person who was being vilified for it. And then the next day, this is at Loose Women, by the way, the next day we went in and we were like, well, shouldn't we say something about this? Because this is racism. And they were like, oh, we're not really allowed to say that because we could get in trouble with the channel. And I was just like, but it is like, but you know, and I'm going to suffer for it. Like I will lose, and we have to let people know that I didn't say that, and I don't feel like that either. Do you know what it is as well? I am so into empowerment and inspiration, and especially when it comes to women as well. Like, you know, I want to build us up, and so to be presented in a light that was the total opposite of that was devastating to me, and then to not be able to speak about it because it was racism was like, it just didn't make no sense. And I was like, you guys aren't looking after me, like you're not looking out for me.
It's not a safe space.
Because but then I got to see similar situations happen for my white counterparts, and they had the opportunities to call a spade, to say what it was, and it was like, I can't say what I really think here. I can't. And then after a while, I was just like, it felt like torture. But then there's this thing of, but I'm the only black woman here. I'm the only person represented for every black person in the planet. But that's what it felt like.
It does.
And I was just like, you know, but then it got to the point where it was seriously affecting my mental health, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna drop out. And the way that they were dealing, I could tell that they wanted to get rid of me, but they didn't know how to say it. And then I was just like, you know what, just let me go. I don't want to sign another contract. Just let me go. And then after that, they released a statement to say that I'd been sacked for my comments.
Wow.
Which was not true at all. And I was like, how on earth did they get away with this? How? Because that's not true. And it was just, so again, it was just like, well, what chance have I got? What chance have I got? And not only that, what if my children are creative children? So now, what if they want to go into the industry? What if any other black girl, what's her experience going to be? What have I changed? How have I impacted this? So for me, after that point, and also this was also, I was also on Strictly around the same time, which was another terribly negative, racist experience. And I remember just thinking, I have to speak truth to power, and I have to use this opportunity. Again, opportunity.
Yeah.
I have to use this opportunity now. And I don't care whether or not I never work again in this industry. I have to say these things so you fix these things.
Yeah.
I don't care whether it's me personally who benefits. I need to know that I've done my part and I've said what needs to be said. And you know that I'm not afraid to tell to tell my story. And so I spoke about my experience on Strictly. The main thing that happened there was that I was being told repeatedly to relax my hair every single day that I went in. And I was, you know, and it was a really, really negative and horrible experience for me. But I felt, and then there was the whole fix thing with Peter Andre winning, but that's a whole nother story. But for me, I just felt like, you know, there's so many people who suffer within this industry. There's so many, you know, on Loose Women, I was doing my own hair and makeup whilst everybody else got to sit in the makeup chair, just because they didn't provide anyone who could do my hair or my makeup. And it wasn't just me, any other black person that came on the show, you know, we would talk about it, would have the same experience. We're in our dressing rooms doing our own makeup because we're not important.
And these shows have got big production budgets.
Listen, and this is the thing, it's kind of, and what they'd say to you is, well, you know, we're paying you. And it's like, well, you're paying everybody else, and we're probably getting paid less than everyone else. Yeah. Try know that. But for me, it was like, I have to tell people these things so that the next black women that go, and I've noticed when the black women have been going on Loose Women, because I keep my eye out. They've been getting hair and makeup, and I'm like, yes, good.
And this is the thing, and you know, it's your shoulders on which, you know, these, you know, new black women, I'd like to say, stand on, because even if ITV don't admit it or Loose Women don't admit it, they know that they can't treat these women in the same way, because they might be as vocal, or they might call them out, or
but for me as well, the reason why I speak out is because a lot of black people are afraid to speak out, and for me it's like, I don't care. Like I am literally at the stage, like I make
royalties.
But that's literally it. And I know I'm in a position of power, and I'm in a position where I don't need that check. Do you know what I mean? I don't need that opportunity anymore. You know, I shoot the table with my own cameras and stuff like that, and it's just because I can. Do you know what I mean? But I also understand that I'm very, very fortunate, and I'm lucky enough to be able to speak out, and that's what you need to do. You know, I need to advocate. So for me, when I see these black women getting their makeup done for Loose Women before the show and getting the level of care that they deserve to get, I'm like, yes. And I'm glad, I'm so glad that I did it. I don't care whether or not Loose Women will admit. I don't need acknowledgement. I don't need applause. I don't need an audience. For me, it's just, I'm so glad I did it. And should any of my children ever end up in similar circumstances, you know, they're going to get the care. And I'd like to think that it's partly because I chose to, you know, be a big mouth.
Well, you know, but you know, I love that, and I know that you're saying that you don't care. I do. I always say, like, ITV and Loose Women, in order to move forward, they have to acknowledge their flawed history and apologise for it and move forward, rather than sweeping it under the rug. Because I remember, like, I was wild on Twitter. I was buying out all the argument. I was like, I think it's just wild how the industry just treats black people like it's just really bad.
And the problem we have is that there, you know, if you won't do it, somebody else will, and they will. But for me, it's kind of like, well, just make sure you treat that person right, because there are a lot of us who will settle for less, and we shouldn't. You know, we deserve to have the same standards across the board. We do. And
this just brings me on to the next point. I love the fact that, yes, this opportunity on a mass scale in terms of TV presenting was great for you, but it wasn't the right space for you. It wasn't a safe space. So Jamelia, being Jamelia, went away and created her own safe space in the form of the table. And I absolutely love I love watching the table. I love.
Thank you.
I haven't been invited on yet.
No,
but, you know,
yes, you have.
Have I?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Listen, I send out the emails, so
Really?
I have invited you.
Honestly, I haven't seen. But let me check my email.
I haven't checked my emails. All right.
But no, I love.
So you're going to come on the next
Of course,
season?
like,
Okay, good.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
Like, without a shadow of a doubt.
Wicked.
I love the table. I love the one with your daughters.
Yeah.
I love
Thank
the
you.
relationship that you have with your children
Thank you.
how empowering you are to them, and just seeing just two-part question.
Yeah.
So the table in itself, kind of just speak to us about the table, why you created it, why you felt that there was a need to, and then I'll speak a little bit around being a mom and a wife and everything else.
Yeah. So my reason for creating the table was I felt unheard, I felt unseen, and despite putting all these hours in the entertainment industry, I just felt like, you know what, these people are never going to give us what we need, and I wanted to give Black women what we need, which is to see ourselves in our entirety, diversely as well. They love to kind of present this kind of monolithic idea of Black womanhood, and for me, that does us a huge disservice, because there are so many. I have so much access to so many incredible Black women who are, some of them are the total opposite to me, whether it's in politics, how we raise our children, how we eat, and I think that diversity deserves to be shown. The table is, it is for Black women, but it's also, for Black girls. I wanted to create a safe space to have conversations. Not only the conversations that we need to have, but the conversations in a way that we communicate with each other. We have like I don't know, when Black women communicate with each other, it's just, I can't explain it. I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel so, it is beautiful. I feel like so warm, and I just feel like, there's just like an instant love. Even if you are not like me, and it's because for me, it's kind of like, I'm really glad that I've got this opportunity to meet somebody not like me who, we might share certain things, but you're different. And that's so important for me to learn more about myself, and, and also having 3 daughters, that means I've got 3 Black women who are, 3 future Black women. And it's like, my daughters need to meet you as well. Do you know what I mean? To understand who they get to be. And so I've done season 1 of the table, and I love doing that. But at the moment, what I'm planning is to kind of make it even more. I want it to be more relaxed. I want it to, because I felt like the first season we tackled a lot of serious subjects, and season 2 we're going to be more focused on our joy, because I feel like we've got plenty of opportunities to speak about the hard subjects, but what are you eating? How do you make a fried dumpling? Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying it's not all going to be frivolous, but I do definitely want to showcase us in our element, having fun, laughing, joking. Do you know what I mean? And I'm actually planning to. You're getting exclusives here, Cheers. I'm actually planning to film it in my house as well, because I think there's something about inviting people into my home and having that and letting like, this is I'm serious about what I'm doing. I want you to know me. I want you to know what's important to me, and I want you to know that you're welcome. So
I'm on season 2, and I'm going to get invited to the hot with the swimming pool.
Bring your costumes. Bring Tara.
I
might
love
even
it.
put on the jet pad.
But it's true. Like, honestly, in the last however many years, Black people have been seen in one way, one dimensional, and and we're always pain, fighting, and my mum always says to me, people may can steal your happiness, but they can never steal your joy.
Okay.
And I think it's amazing that actually we're going to be showing our joyful side, and
absolutely, it's so important.
I think
it's so important.
We're so rich in culture. We're so and just to have an opportunity to experience that and to showcase that to the world and use your platform to do that, I think is amazing.
Thank you.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And just speaking on kind of like the family. I watched the table. I watched the one with your girls, and I actually watched it with Tara and my girls.
Aww.
And Tiana and Mimi are similar ages.
Oh, okay.
So when she was brought her books and she was saying, I've read like however many books. I just looked at Mimi and was like, and how many books have you read this year? And I think for me, what that was, it was refreshing to see a family operate, but also to see somebody as young as Tiana reading.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, Mimi, like, you can do the same.
But at the same time, I have to say this in defense of Mimi. Just like I didn't read this. This is gonna sound so bad, but I didn't read my first like thick novel until I was 26. You know, and now I'm an avid reader.
Wow.
You know, and one of my daughters, my eldest daughter, she's not really, you know, she does read, but she's not a big reader. Whereas Tiani, she will work through books like in, you know, just like days. Like I bought her a book yesterday and she's halfway through it already, a thick book. I don't know how she does it. Like I can't read like that, but it doesn't mean that she, you know, maybe Mimi's more, you know, more hands-on, more maybe, you know, don't even underestimate, you know, things like watching things on YouTube and stuff like that. So don't count her out because she's not reading. Reading's fantastic, you know what, and to be encouraged.
She's very creative. And like her personality is amazing. I do want her to read a lot more, but maybe she's going to be an audible person. Maybe she's going to listen to the podcast.
Exactly.
And get her knowledge from that. So that will be really interesting. But no, I love the family setup. I love.
So this is something that I am really passionate about at the moment, is seeing black families. What do we look like? You know, how do we differ? What are, you know, how are we navigating life, particularly as British people? You know, I don't know if you've heard, but Channel 4 are doing it's called Black to Front, where they're doing a whole day of black programming. Every single person on every single channel, every single show is going to be black, and it's and they're going to be doing like a black reality show, like based around a family and stuff. And I'm like, yes, this is the content that we want to see. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be talking about, you know, how did you feel when you saw a black man getting shot? Like, how do you think I felt? How do you think we felt? Do you know what I mean? But and for me as well, you know, again, we have to focus on our joy. You know, we've got plenty of opportunity to focus on pain and struggle and strife, but that's not all we are. And the black family, I think, is something that is grossly underrepresented. You know, we both have homes with families, with a mom and dad and the children. Do you know what I mean? But where do you see that? Where else do you see that? And you know, and it's kind of, you know, it's important for us to, even on social media, we have to share those things. We have to let people know we exist. You know, and because when you show that you exist, you give permission for other people to exist. You know, let's
normalize it.
Yeah, of course, it's like normalizing blackness. Like it's nonsense.
It's true, because when I post things about, you know, Tyra and the kids or whatever, sometimes I get messages, people saying, "Wow," like. Wow, like as if to say, oh my God, there's a black man, a black dad at home still. And I'm just like, okay, so you're right, we have to
to
normalise.
your children it's normal, to our children it's normal, but you know, other people need to see us. You know, we need to make sure we're being seen. I say that and I never show my husband, but you know.
Does that mean we're going to see hubby soon then appear?
No, he doesn't.
But I think for you it's different because you've been in the limelight and you've had that visceral kind of...
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I don't share my husband's face is because I just know what the papers are going to do. My husband's been inside, he's been to prison before, and I just know they're going to dig that up and then they're going to put that all over the papers. And, you know, I'm just like, I'm not here for it because that Jamelia is not... has not settled yet, so I don't want to become angry and do you know what I mean? I just don't want it, and they don't want it either. So it's just like, you know, we'll keep them at the limelight for now.
Oh my goodness, Jamelia, honestly, we can talk for
yes, we sure
ages
can.
and ages and ages. But I think we've gave so much knowledge today, and honestly, you know, write your own music.
Yes.
You know, you can live and have a pool of royalties.
Yes.
Oh, it's good. It's always good to collaborate
Yes.
with different people.
Yes.
Keep your options open, opportunity.
Look out for opportunities and prepare yourself for opportunities as well. Make sure you've done all you can do. So when an opportunity arises, you can take it. Because I would highly say that for me, a lot of the great things that have happened were because I was prepared for the opportunity that presented itself.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Opportunity. What else was there? Kind of media training and getting yourself ready for the industry and being authentic, speaking up for what's right.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's just so many. There's just
I hope so.
There's just so much gems in this conversation. I couldn't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you.
Before you leave, we do this thing
Yes.
at the Creative Entrepreneurs Podcast. It's called 10 in 10.
Okay.
And we just ask you 10 quick fire round questions.
Cool.
We've asked all the guests the same questions.
Okay.
And it's one or the other. Even if you maybe don't have a preference, you've got to have one preference over the other.
No problem. Yeah.
So let me get the stuff.
Cool.
Right, okay.
Cool.
Nike or Adidas?
Oh, Nike.
I know this one already, but I'm going to say Beyonce or Rihanna?
Oh, Beyonce.
Audi or BMW?
Oh, no. Audi. I don't know why I thought about that. Yeah, I love Audis.
Rush Hour or Bad Boys?
I'm going to get my black card revoked. I've not watched either of them.
You've watched trailers for both of them, surely.
Yeah.
So choose one from the trailers.
I think Bad Boys because that scene where the girl goes on a date or something. Is that Bad Boys?
Yeah.
Okay,
Chitty bang bang.
Yeah.
KFC or McDonald's?
Oh, KFC chicken.
ASOS or Boohoo Man?
Oh, I don't really like them things, but I gotta choose. ASOS, I think they got more things there, haven't they? Yeah.
Tupac or Biggie?
Oh, no, I'm not choosing. No. No, I refuse.
Okay. J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar?
J. Cole, I love J. Cole.
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
And podcasts or books?
Oh, no, podcast, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Jamelia, honestly, thank you so much. You have been a superstar. I'm sure you heard that one before.
Never.
But honestly, thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in once again. And please do, if you do like the podcast, rate and review it. Until next time.